Leeds United are set for a Premier League battle against Wolverhampton Wanderers on Saturday, and there are a few quite interesting notes about this match, and there's a little bit of team news to talk about, so I'll do that, and we'll have a little bit of a preview of everything surrounding this match that feels a little bit less important than it did this time last week, because in the time since we've beaten Manchester United. But we'll take a little bit of a deep dive through Farke's press conference, my predicted lineup, the predicted Wolves lineup, how we need to play, and ultimately what we can see happening in this one. And to start with, the team news at the time of the press conference was effectively completely unchanged. Everyone that was available previously was available now. There was no one that was unavailable previously that was now available, which is a little bit of a shame because some of the players that would have become available are genuinely some of our better players. For example, Stack coming back would have been huge. Same for Rodon, and Dan James brings a little bit of something different. However, one of the more important parts of news was the fact that Tanaka is not in fact injured. Against Manchester United after the match, there was a little bit of a celebration going on. Longstaff asked, "Do you want to do the wait," to the away fans, to Tanaka, and Tanaka was like, "No, I'm not walking too good." Turns out the reason he wasn't walking too good was cramp rather than anything more serious, which means that we are in a pretty damn good position. Having Tanaka available definitely helps things. It means that we've got a more complete squad, and something that I think would be quite useful against Wolves in the midfield department that I'll get into in a little bit more detail going forward. There has been a little bit more of a sort of rumoury conversation in terms of fitness, with someone saying that Farke mentioned there might be a positive surprise in terms of fitness. The Twitter account that's usually fairly reliable on Leeds squad stuff, FPLG23, so that there's potential for that to be Dan James being more fit than he would be, but let's be honest, Dan James would be on the bench at most, wouldn't make it into the first 11 in my opinion, and would be more of an impact sub rather than someone that would absolutely change the game. He's someone to sort of alleviate the minutes of Okafor or Brendan Aronson, in my opinion. When it comes to my predicted lineup, I think we're going to go with Carl Darlow in net, who is absolutely proving his worth in goal recently. Centre backs, you're going to go James Justin on the right hand side, which also sort of makes him a right back when Bogle just does his thing, disappears for a bit. Central centre back, Jakobiel, because he's been very, very, very solid recently, with Pascal Struijk over on the left, supporting Gabby Goodmanson, who will probably do the same thing as Jaden Bogle, but to a less insane extent. He's actually a left back, whereas Jaden Bogle is just sort of. Remember when Junior Firpo used to just be found at number 9 and everyone was like, I don't know how you got there, but you're there now, it's fine. That, in essence, is what we can expect from Jaden Bogle. In terms of midfield, I'm going with Ampadu because Ampadu sort of has to play. He's one of our more consistent players in the midfield. And Tanaka because I think Tanaka brings that sort of creative passing while still having that sort of snappy, hard press. That Gruev is more of a sort of mid-block kind of guy, whereas Tanaka is more of a higher press kind of guy. That difference is going to be important in my opinion because of something that I think we need to do against Wolves that I'll get into a little bit further down the road. In the sort of right wing / number 10 slot, because Bogle will be bombing on down the right hand side, I've gone with Brendan Aronson, with Okafor out on the left and Calvert-Lewin up top. Calvert-Lewin, who I'm happy to say has come through very, very nicely from his injuries against Manchester United, where he was brutally scalped by the angry, raging hobbit that we all like to call Lisandro Martinez. His behaviour was deplorable, and I'm glad that he's still suspended. In essence, the same sort of aggressive lineup. This is a side that everyone looked at before the Man United match and went, this is a feisty side, I quite like this. I'm hoping for that sort of high energy style again. We're playing at home, so I can imagine we'll be doing a fair bit of attacking because that's what we tend to do. And in sort of a tactical perspective, I kind of hope that we look to outnumber them in those wide areas. But I'll get into that when I talk about Wolves, which is right about now, to be honest with you. Wolves, when they are playing, trend towards playing in a sort of 3-5-2, 5-3-2, whatever you want to call it. 3 centre-backs, 3 central midfielders, 2 wing-backs, 2 centre-forwards, one of which is Adam Armstrong, which to me is absolutely hilarious because the number of times that it's been like, oh, Adam Armstrong, he's currently in the Premier League, he beat us in the playoff final. Back down again. Oh, cool, I've moved to Wolves. Back down again. Spectacular. We love to see it. We need to take a little bit of care with the fact that they're going to play with 2 up top because a lot of sides will just play with the 1. It might mean a little bit less space for the passing than we're used to, so be a little bit careful when it comes to passing amongst the back 3 and the goalkeeper. But that's something that we can deal with relatively easily. And in my opinion, I think one of Aronson and Noah Okafor at any given time will potentially have to support the midfield, because they've got three central midfielders as good as Ampadu and Tanaka are. They're far from guaranteed to win that midfield battle, so I think chucking some more folks in there from time to time, maybe Gudmundsson or Bogle coming in off the wing from time to time, some of the tens maybe dropping a little bit deeper just to give that a little bit more support and win that midfield fight is going to be pretty much key. And then we've got to think about the things that we will need to do if we want to beat Wolverhampton Wanderers. Now, when I say it like that, it makes it sound like it's going to be a bit of a challenge. At the end of the day, it's Wolves. We've seen how Wolves play, we've seen how they've played all season long, and it's not been particularly good for them. But the first thing that I think we need to do is make their centre-backs think a little bit. Watching them against West Ham, they were genuinely dreadful when they were put under any form of pressure. Their centre-backs would start under-hitting passes, over-hitting passes, completely missing their teammates. Because, let's be honest, their confidence is shot. They are a side that is already relegated. A lot of them will be thinking, am I even going to be at Wolves next season? If I am at Wolves, I'm a second-tier player now. That's not fantastic. And it's sort of getting in their head a little bit in a way that we can sort of take advantage of here. If we make them think, if we make them sort of overcomplicate every single move and make that press as high and hard as we can, which is why I wanted out Tanaka here, because he played ridiculously well against Man United in the press. That's going to do oodles of good. It's going to cause them a lot of issues, and it's going to give us chance after chance after chance. In addition to that, I think we need to start fairly fast. As I mentioned, their confidence is low, their morale is on the floor, they are already down in everything but statistically. In essence, we can functionally relegate them, because if we beat them and then West Ham get anything, then Wolves are already down. From a goal difference perspective, they are already effectively down, and if we beat them, it gets even worse. If we get a goal ahead, their heads will just drop. They all already know that they're relegated, but we can make it a borderline certainty, and that's something that I'm kind of looking forward to. It is very easy to demoralise this team, and I think if we put in that oomph from the very beginning, like we did against Scum at Old Trafford, then we're going to do pretty well. And important to note, and something that we should really pay a lot of attention to, is they are fairly poor against set pieces, and they have a tendency to foul you in very dangerous areas. We might not have Anton Stach right now, but we've got a lot of players that can strike a ball very nicely. And I think if we sort of, I don't want to do that sort of tippy-tappy thing around their box. That's not what I think we'll do. But if we're able to have plenty of possession, cause a lot of threat in those dangerous areas, then occasionally a centre-back is going to stick their foot in, give away fouls and penalties in those dangerous areas, and we're going to absolutely pump them, in my opinion. There's a reason we won 3-1 earlier in the season when we were looking poor away from home. They haven't been looking fantastic either. I imagine they'll sit off relatively and make us do a little bit of the work, but that's fine. I think they'll be easy enough to break down, and I am going with a 3-0 win for Leeds United from this one. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, pop a like on it, subscribe if you're not yet as well, that'd be wonderful, or even be a channel member. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you later. Tomorrow, specifically, over on Big Up, where I'll join Joe for his watch-along. Ta-ra.